Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting, where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session we are going to start with our cover. The last session, after I've messed it up and didn't show you how to cut the little slits from the cardstock paper, we have done that, and I went ahead and done most of mine off camera. I showed you about 2 on camera. We made the paper beads together, and now we are ready to get started on the cover. Now this process is still going to be a long one because we need some drying time in between and all of that. So without further ado, let's get started. So just to recap, the sheets, that is the beautiful kit from Digital and SVG Designs for you. They've got 14 sheets, I think. Maybe I missed one. I don't know. I haven't counted them. And I've printed them on the one side on cardstock, and on the other side I've left some of them blank. And for others, I went ahead and I printed these geometric African designs on them. Quite a few different ones that I got from some page sites and things. This, I need to show you. I made a boo-boo. The kit is actually this way. Obviously, there is the margin there. But I went ahead and I stamped and I had it upside down. So lesson to be learned for you people is to make sure that your paper is in the right direction. So directionality is an issue. So mine is obviously this way, and I went ahead and I stamped. So it is what it is. Previously, without the stamping, it was like that, and that's how I intended it. But somehow, as I was doing the stamping, I turned this sadly upside down. So now my red margin is on this side, and this is really nothing with Digi and SVG Designs for you. That was my own, I can just call it as it is, stupidity. Rushing, I guess, not looking carefully enough. It is what it is, and it's such a beautiful piece. But anyway, like most of the pages, they are absolutely gorgeous. So I guess either the margin is upright and the elephant and the buffalo is on its head, or the elephant and buffalo is upright and the margin is on the other side. I could reprint this, though I decided not to then. So the pages are done, they're ready. I inked around all the edges. All of them have got the slits cut in, some more stamping done. And then I just want to show you the extra page. I went ahead and I made some just hand-drawn patterns. Just make it your own. I added a strip of paper with some circle stickers on top. So we have that as well. Now this one I want to show you. When I stamped, I used a wooden block stamp, which sadly did not touch in the middle. Now, it's just one of those. I think it is something with a stamp. Maybe it bent or warped or something over time. I haven't used these stamps in like forever, and I've had them for 20 plus years now. And well, probably more than that, probably 25, I guess. And I haven't used this one. So when I stamped this, obviously, and I can bring it closer for you, you can see that there's this white spot in the middle where it did not make contact with the paper. Now, had I used a plain rubber stamp or clear stamps and a stamping tool, I could have prevented this, but because it's on a block, I cannot do that. Now, to remedy this or to fix this, I just simply went ahead and I stamped a different image, also some guinea fowl, on brown paper, craft paper in other words. So I cut it out, fussy cut it, and I'm going to add that there, just to hide the fact that there is some brown. So we will have this two-tone thing going on. I have this smaller one, which are these two, and then here are supposed to be 3 guinea fowl. Now, to hide the fact that it was a bobo, I'm just going to glue this on top, and it should be fine. So just a way for you to know that it happens. Sometimes it happens, and there's nothing that we can do about these things. Now, this can really happen to anybody, and as I said, it would have been better had I used a stamping tool, like a Misty or one of those. That's just the name that came to mind, but a stamping platform where you can re-stamp when this is happening, because your paper won't be moving. And that is why this is difficult. You can't see with the mounted stamps where it will take or not. So I'm going to move this down a tiny little bit. I just want to make sure that is better. So we're going to glue that down, and there you have it. Now there might be a few areas standing up, so I'll just glue that down, making sure that it doesn't lift up, and it's glued down well. So that's an easy way to fix this boo-boo that I made. That little beak also needs to be glued down, and there, it doesn't look too bad, and we have that two-tone effect with the brown stamping in the background, more white, and then this on top. I think it actually looks kind of cute, so that was a good mishap. So there's that pattern, just simple, some white to leave some space for us to be able to journal. Now this is just gorgeous. the guinea fowl there, the little feather, and then we have this image there as well. Now for the extra page, remember I said previously in the last session, I want to do 3 signatures. Now 14 pages, and then I just simply added one sheet that I also went ahead and I cut the slits in, I inked around the edges, and then I made a pattern. Now I want to quickly show you how did I make this pattern. It's actually quite simple, very easy and straightforward. What I did was I used 3 circles, all punched out from scrap paper. I've got firstly the red one that I used in the background, then I added the green one on top of that, and then on top of that the little blue one in the middle. So it looks something like this. Then you can see the blue and green, those are just circle stickers, and I added that here as well. I trimmed it, of course, and there are the little pieces that I've trimmed from the side. You can see that it's coming from there, all of them, and this one at the end is this corner one here. So there you have it. Very, very simple. You can use circles to make borders very easily. In one of my tips and tricks videos that's upcoming, I am showing you how to do exactly that. I have mentioned it before that circles, I love incorporating circles in so many different ways, and this is surely one of those where you can incorporate it, making a beautiful pattern. Now last time we also made our beads. They look truly beautiful. I'll just grab them. They're already here. I've got one. I got that other one that was stuck on the skewer. Got that off. All of them, the red ones are sealed with just clear nail, varnish or polish, and then the blue and green is with silver, and the yellow has got this bit of a bronzy glitter in it. So we will be using that next time. So in our first session, we had made our masterboard, which was done with collaging some old book pages, which is really quite sturdy. Now I said, as we started with this, we need to use stuff that's really going to be sturdy because of the spine that we are using. Hence why we printed our pages on cardstock, and it's due to the binding method that we are going to use. Now we're going to go ahead. I use these sheets which are repurposed. It's really still flimsy, white on the one and then this craft brown grayish color on the other. So it's cardstock that is repurposed. You get it when you send stuff to the laundry around here. So a friend of mine actually keep these for me, and whenever we meet up, she gives me a pack of those, which I love using in my crafting. So for today, we're going to use, now even if we put 2 of these together, it will be sturdy, but not sturdy enough. It is still quite flimsy. So I'm going to put 3, maybe 4. Let's check the thickness. Probably going to do 4 together. I took 5 sheets, but we will glue 4 of them together. Now, I'm not worried that they will come loose. I just want to put glue on top of each of them so that we can glue them down and have a thicker, more sturdier sheet to work with. Now we can cut this down first of all, or you can trim it down afterwards. Now we need to get them, and I'll use one of these this size. Now we need to just incorporate the spine, which I want about, let me guess quickly, not more than 2 inches. So that will be perfect, but it needs to be this exact length and then an extra 2 inches. For those of us that's working in centimeters, that is just less than 5 centimeters, just less. If you use a cereal box or some food box, your spine will probably already be determined. I'm not using that today. I want to make my own, which we will then incorporate into making the cover. Now what we have, this one is not done yet. You can see I used a food box, and I have just reinforced that because the original was quite flimsy. And yes, I also used cardstock that I put to the front and the back of this just so that it's a whole lot more sturdier. And I will still be making this into a journal for somebody, so I always have some sort of a prototype ready, maybe in a different format, different size or orientation or whatever. So this is what we're going to do, and this is that H shape I had shown you previously. So let's get this gluing part done so that we can start making our cover. So I'm going to glue this down and leave it so that it dry, and then we're going to get started on decorating the cover. And for that we will be painting. Isn't that awesome? Just some mark making again, you know that we normally do. Now I'm going to just cut this down just so that I have an idea of where and what size. So I need that so that I have the right size, and now I take a different one, but it doesn't matter. Really truly doesn't matter. I just want to get a pencil, and now from here I need to just get 2 inches That's the nail polish that I just bumped over. 2 inches from there. Why is this feeling skew? So I'm going to cut it down there, just for myself, and then on that side as well. So, trusty craft knife again, still battling with this throat. So, and probably the last one. There we go. I don't throw this away. We might use one to just reinforce the spine. Then I'm moving this down. Yes, I will be a little bit out of the view, but I just need to get this sorted. And that is done. So these can easily be turned into tags. You can decorate them, resize them, belly bands, can be covers for small little journals, any of those things. So, you know me, I never throw that away. I will keep one of these to reinforce the spine. Now, for this, what we need to do is, I'm going to just cheat a little bit, and I'm just going to use one sheet for now. This will be covered, so it's not an issue. And then I'm going to flip this over to get the width of that spine. Now this, there we go. We're not going to cut this part, we're going to fold it in. So this looks a tiny little bit skew. And then this part. So this should be 7.2 centimeters. That should be 5. And this one also, because the pages are 17.2 centimeters. So this will be our spine and this will be open. So now I'm going to glue this all together, starting with this one. And it needs some time to actually dry. You can use liquid glue. I will, however, just use a glue stick. Yes, I am out of the view for you mostly. And I will rectify that within a minute. Just make sure that there's enough glue right to the edge and then on the inside. Again, we will cover it. I just want a very sturdy cover. If you have something like chipboard already that you can use, please go ahead. I just want to make sure that this does not buckle when we are doing the binding. And remember, we're not sewing it in like the first journal, the mushroom one. We are just going to bind this in with string, and it will just go over the spine. Have we already done 5 or just 4? Maybe it's just 4. And there we have that last one. A bit of glue there, doesn't matter. It will all be clear. Just make sure there aren't any bubbles. And you can see that this is quite sturdy now. Quite thick and quite sturdy. Now this needs to be left so that it can actually dry. I think I mentioned it last time that I am using a video of Natasha from Treasure Box as inspiration for this, as that was the first time where I've seen a half spine, wraparound half spine method. Now I'm going to cut this, and because it's already thick, we're not going to fold this over. I had done it with this one. I can show you this one, which is much thinner. You can see that it's not cut off. I actually folded that in, and then if I have to take paint and put it on my finger or ink and I rub it over, you will see the indent that it makes there. I had folded that over, and I have added some material over this just to reinforce the spine. So we're not going to fold this part over because this is quite thick already. So I'm just going to cut through that, all 4 layers. I think it's cut through. Wonderful. Now just make sure it doesn't slip when you cut it. It should be loose. And into that corner. There we have it. I just want to tidy that up. There's a bit from the bottom. Can't stop that sitting there. Now to do the exact same thing on this side. And I'll just draw a straight line from there. Is this even 2 inches wide? I think it's a little bit more than 2 inches. But it is what it is. It's 2.2, so 2 inches, 1/8. 2 1/8 of an inch. So it's fine. Same thing, but for all 4 of these layers. It's quite thick. There we go. Same thing this side. Maybe first cut this. If you're scared you will cut through, just cut to a little bit further from the edge. See, that's not what happened. It slipped right through. Luckily, it's thick enough, so it shouldn't have an impact. But if you're scared, you do exactly that. Just go in there again and slice slowly. Luckily, it won't go through all 4 of the layers. It just went through the top one, which it shouldn't even lift as this is glued down. So if you're scared to do that again, just go through there and it should be easy. There we go. Now I just want to put that last little bit that is in the corner as that will. So there we have our spine. Now I'm going to just take a bone folder, rather the scoring tool, and I'm going to score it there because we need to now get this to fold there. The crease there. And we bend this one up. And I'm going to just pull this down a little bit so that, see, there it opens up. That's why this needs to be a very sturdy spine. And there is our spine. This will still dry, so don't worry about that. What I like to do to just reinforce this even further because of the bend is I take micropore. You can use some fabric if you want to, and just put that over there so that it actually reinforces that. Now this spine, there's a bit extra there. I hope it's not too short now. Before I cut that off, I will just keep it there. This is micropore. It's always difficult to get this to. And I'm going to put this both sides. And I just want to line it up off one side so that it is easier to trim the other part. Now this, just there and there. And we're going to fold this over. This will anyway all be covered. And the same on this side. And remember, the masterboard is also quite thick, as that's the original A4 paper, or A3 rather, double A4, and then all the bits and pieces of book pages that we have added on top. So line this up again. And then we will just trim that part off. And there we have a nicely reinforced spine. Trim that little bit. It just needs to be tidied up. And there we have it. And then, just to guide that on that crease, go in there. The same with this one. this can sit a little bit so that it can actually dry, and that is our spine. Now this one keeps on bending, keeps on making a bubble there as I'm folding it. Once it's dry, hopefully it will not make that bubble anymore. There we have it. I don't know if you can see that, it makes that bubble in the middle. Right, this can now just dry a little bit till we get back to it, and we will cover this. Now for our decoration of our paper, we now going to get our masterboard. Remember the masterboard that we have created in the first session, that is what we're needing now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the sheet that is our masterboard. I'm going to just cut it a bit shorter, and I'm just using my ruler as a guide right around, just one length. That's it, one width of the ruler. The side more or less the same. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want to waste the rest of this masterboard. It can be utilized for something else. Yes, don't think you have to keep everything. If you're not going to use it, don't keep it. Throw the rest away. But if you are going to use it, then by all means, keep it for yourself. So I'm just slicing this and moving it down to here so I can get the rest of this. And then there's a little piece there that needs to be sliced. There we go. So the rest will be used again for covers. You can make tags, you can make journal cards with this. There's a bit here that I see needs to be glued, but that is actually not a worry for today. It is just to get the 2 layers to glue down properly, and that can dry till the next time that we want to use this. Remember, we have glued quite a number of different pieces of book pages on here, and dictionary, storybooks, all kinds, and it became quite sturdy. We had done it on a shopping bag. So there we have that. The fun part is going to start. We are going to decorate this. So we trimmed that. I just want to cut that tiny little piece there, not for any reason other than it will be bothering me. So there we have this, a little bit more sizable, and we've got our text in all kinds of directions, so we can use it either way and it would not be a problem. So this is our cover. We're not going to glue it down like that, it will be down on this side, but for us to be able to do that, we now need to get to the next part of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down on there, and yes, it's already a little bit warped, it's not an issue, wrinkled with the paper, it's not a problem. We will be covering the inside as well. Now I'm going to put glue on this side and put it down before we start cutting down on these corners, just to fold it in neatly and nicely. So I'm using Eileen's liquid glue, tacky glue, that is, you can use whatever you want, whether that is glitter glue, and yes, for those beginners, it's not glue with glitter in it, it's just the brand, it's called glitter glue, and it's just a very strong adhesive, something almost like tacky glue, fabric tack, any of those. It's just a strong liquid glue, Elmer's, any of that, PVA glue, that's basically what it is. We just don't want any of the glue seeping out. And you can see I'm quite liberal with this, however not so liberal that it will squash out. You can smear it if you want to get a more even glue layer. By all means you can smear it. And I'm just going to put this more or less in the middle. And there's no marks, there's some glue from the paper bag. It's not an issue. And then this just needs to, there's a bit of glue coming through there. This now just needs to glue down. While that is gluing down, I'm going to start trimming. What we do is, from this corner and that corner, we're going to snip it this way, because we will be folding this in. And yes, it might look scary. Going to do that very same thing on this side. And we will be trimming this down as well. See, it's too wide, so there's kind of a bit that we need to trim off. This all just helps to get this really sturdy. There's a bit of that paper that is now bending down, and I just want to trim a bit off here as well. Just grabbing my bone folder, and I'm pushing that against that edge so that it is neat and tidy. I'm going to lift this up because this is now a bit wider from where we had actually folded it. So I need to just get this one to fold there. I don't know how I was walking next to it all along. So there we go. And then we'll do the same thing that side. That is now glued down perfectly fine. And some glue in that area. And on our little flap. Again, just the bone folder to push that in and get that to glue down perfectly fine. This glue is very strong and it will give a nice bond. Now this all looks still funky, but we will get there in a moment. We now need to have this fold over and in there, but we're going to trim this off as well. Not too far because we want that to fold in, and the same on the ends. And that is why you will see that we are doing this in 2 parts, because this is quite a lengthy video as it is already, and we are not even halfway done with getting this sorted. That is lifting a little bit, but it's not an issue. We can add a bit of glue. Now for this, we need to just trim that off and fold it in, and then bring this over. So I'm going to, sorry for the metal ruler on the craft knife, just going to cut that away. And I'm doing that on this end as well. No, these parts I will not keep. So we're going to fold this in. For that to happen, I'm going to just score that across so that we have a fold line, because this is quite thick. We need to get that in, but then we have to get this folded in there. Now, when we fold this, that means there will be 3 layers, and we don't want that 3 layers. So we're going to just trim a tiny bit off this. Don't worry too much about it, just a tiny little bit. I know Natasha shows hers different. Hers is a very simple process of folding this over. I just want to trim the extra bit so that we don't have all that extra bulk on this. And yes, I know it looks crazy at this very moment, and that one just torn, which is just a part of the top layer. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue there. Not even a blob. You don't want a blob there. Just so that that can stay there. And then to get this, just to trim this, I'm just going to, anyway, snap that off. Same here. Because it's so thick, we just need to get this trimmed off a tiny bit. Now, for this, get some clips close by so that you can actually get this sorted. And this one needs to fold over, and it all keeps on bending because it is this layer. I just want to put my bone folder underneath and help this to bend over. There we have that. And just make sure that that is nicely against the thickness of our cover. And this is now where we trim off the extra bit so that we will fold this one in. And we just need a bit of glue in that corner there, just to make sure that paper stays where it should. Now, there we have it. I know it's a bit messy, but it will come together all in the end. So with this one, I'm first going to bend it over so that we can get this to go where it should. And I just want to make sure there's enough glue in this layer where we actually done the collaging for the masterboard. And it's now in retrospect that I realize this should really be very, very carefully done. I'm cutting away these pieces so that there's not extra. So what I need to do is bend that one up. The cover is quite thick. You can see how that is breaking. So I'll just add a little bit of extra glue there. And there we have that. So that is fine. We will probably have to do that on all the parts. So we're going to put a bit of glue there, right to the end of that. There, down there. Going to start with this. And I'll put some glue on the cutting board. See, this glue is absolutely magnificent. It glues down easily. I just want to take that extra bit off there. And I think to save some time, I need to just do the rest of these corners quickly. Off camera, well, not so quickly, but just off camera. So I'm going to just trim these sides, just so that there is some space. Maybe just like so, so that there's still space to trim. I'll do those ends and then I will come back. Right, so now we can go ahead and we can actually do the rest of this cover. So I'm going to start with this and just make sure I've got enough glue. Not too much that it runs out, but enough to make sure that actually glues down, as well as these parts. And again, use your bone folder, as that is quite thick. So we're going to bend this over. Yes, this is cracking a bit. In retrospect, it would have been a whole lot better to just use PVA glue for the collaging. It would give it that little bit more of a bend and not so hard as with them. We'll fix the edge a little bit later. I just want to wipe that bit of glue off there. We've got that part. Don't worry about this part that you see here. It is still gluing down. I just want to put a bit of glue in there. We will carry on with the rest. And my AC just stopped in the room, which means it will get very, 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 very hot shortly. I'm just making sure there's glue right to the edge of this. And we guide this up, bending it over, and we will fix that where it keeps pulling apart in a little while. And that's why I say in retrospect, doing the collaging with the PVA glue would have been a whole lot easier. Just a bit of glue in there, not too much. However, just getting that. So glue down. And we will tidy up the others as well. Now let's do the buttons, or the tops. I don't know which part it is at this stage. Maybe a bit too much glue. I'll just smear all over. I can use the bone folder to get that good, solid, crisp fold at the bottom. Yes, we will fix that in a bit, as it is cracking. Same here. There's still some glue from the brown paper bag. Making sure there's glue all over. And again, using the bone folder to get that crisp fold. And now there are flaps on the inside. Same thing, I'm just smearing the glue, just making sure there's glue everywhere. Bone folder yet again to get that. And you can see that it's folded over nicely. This will all be covered on the inside. I just want to clip this with some bulldog clips. This is quite thick, not that it's going to hold all of that. There we go, maybe like so. And then this one the same way, just so that it's got that extra bit of hold. And now for the last flap. Same thing, just bend it over so that you know where it is folding. Guide it. See, it keeps splitting, but we will fix that in a bitty. However, it will bother me, so I'll just quickly glue that down. Right, for this one, make sure there's enough glue in that fold. Again, and seeing that you guided it already where to fold, it should be easy. And we're also going to clip it with some bulldog clips just to make sure that it is actually gluing down well. Now, while we wait for this to dry, we're just going to go around the edge where this is cracking, and it's due to the glue stick and the thickness of the cover. So just put a bit of this PVA glue, which has got a bit more. And on top there, like you can see there, it's cracking. Just give it a moment, and then we just push that down. And then we have that sorted. Now, I did smear some glue on here. I'll just scratch that off with my nail. I have no idea why my AC stopped working. It's probably time for it. I do hope the one in my room is also still on. If that also stops working, we've got a problem, because it's a long weekend where I am. And I doubt that maintenance will come out. And it's already up to 47 degrees Celsius, which is really, really, really quite hot. Yes, that is outside. It's not in the house, but it is still quite hot. So that can quickly dry, and then we can just glue down the inside of this cover as well. We will not finish it today. We still want to decorate the outside. I just want to hide that one a little bit, and there we go. This should be fine. Now there's another one that is cracking on the end. For the next step, we will start doing some animal prints on this cover. We need to get that open up a bit. And there we have that one. There's a bit there also. So, let's see quickly. I think that is sorted. And let's see this one. That is all done. Now the inside still looks terrible, but it's not a problem. That will be fixed in a little while. Now, still have some paper that was printed. This needs to have that too. So what we can do is have one part there and then the other on here. So you can use fabric for the inside, you can use paper, gift wrap, you can just put plain white on the inside. It's all up to you. It's your choice. So I'm opting for a white on the inside, and I'm going to show you my cheat sheet. I'm just going to trace this, and then I'm going to trim this down. Now, this needs to be a bit shorter than the inside, not too much. I don't want to cut that now. So I'm going to trim this. Just needs to be a bit shorter. I guess like that. If I just put this straight down, then at least I will see if it is straight or not. We can still trim it down a bit. So I'm going to just cut it there, because we still have to trim it anyway. This you know already, I don't throw away. I'll use that to make full postage stamps and so forth. Now this needs to be just shorter than 17, so I'm going to cut this a little bit on the inside and a little bit there. Same thing here. And I'm cutting it skew. Would you believe that now? No. This needs to just be a little bit there. I guess it will work out. We will see in a bitty whether it did or not. You can do whatever you want on the inside: fabric, scrapbook paper, printed paper. You can do a collage of wild animals if you want. Let's see if this, what I envisage, is working. I don't know why. I guess that one didn't print properly still. See, this is, but that is too long. So let's just trim that a tiny little bit on this side, like that so. And let's see now. There we have that. This one should also be trimmed a bit. Just a tiny bit, not much. We can rather trim again than to trim too much, and then we're in a pickle. There we go. So that's the inside. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to add glue to this. Just glue that piece by piece, basically, if that is making any sense to you at all. Just so that I can get these parts in, I just have to glue that one down. And then I'm going to lift this up of that piece. And this now seems as if it's also too wide. So before it glues down, let's just trim a tiny bit off there. And on the other side as well. Now Natasha's process might be a whole lot easier for you, as she just put loose pieces on to cover her journal cover. And there we have that one. Now, while this is drying, I haven't decided which part will be the front, which will be the back, but I guess right about now should be a good time to choose that. And as we had before, we will just bend this one, and the glue is still obviously wet, so it might be a bit of a pickle to get that to bend where it should. And we will get that one also there. I don't know why that one has got a mark now in the middle, probably from the ruler, but we won't see that because that's where the signatures will be. We'll just guide that a tiny little bit while the glue is still drying on here. We don't want that to just, that one keeps on opening up. I guess we will be matching this forevermore. And that one can now dry. I just want to also just run the bone folder over here. So there is that. Now, this should be the front, and this will be the back cover. So, on here, what now? Now it's the fun part, decorating the cover. And I feel like doing some animal prints on here with acrylic paint. I've got a lot of glue all over now. So, let's get that sorted. What do we need? Some acrylic paint and paint brushes. Now, before we continue, I just want to check something, and I think this little piece of scrap paper would be perfect for that. I'm not going to reveal it yet. So this should be there, sort of. I know it's not perfectly cut, and that doesn't matter, but let's just trim it a tiny bit so that we have a better visual. So what I want to do is take a pencil, if only I can find my pencil, because that is something that continuously disappears. I'm just going to do a line there, and on the corner, and maybe there, and here too, so that I know where's the corners, right? The lines are not so much. So you can see the four corners. Now, what we're going to do. The first one will be very, very simple. Absolutely the simplest thing ever. Using a piece, we're just going to draw lines, just making sure the paint pen is saturated enough. And we are going to draw lines. Now, basically, what this means is, from there, you can maybe go a little bit in. And yes, you guessed it, some zebra lines. I know they are not always the same, and each one is different. And remember, I'm not an artist, but the line should replicate that of zebra stripes. And we're going to do a different pattern as well. So we will continue from here. I'm just going to turn this so that I can see more or less our line, which is running across. So I'm going to turn this so that I can get a different direction, just maybe this way. I know it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And I just made it up, but luckily it's still within the range. And there's going to be something there. So we will probably not be able to get done today. And I just want to bring it to the cover this side, so I'm not stopping there. Just remember this cover is quite thick. And I'm just seeing that this is quite, oh, wet paint. I need to just cut this off because this is quite a bit too wide. I hope I didn't smear this now too much. Right, and then I'm going to start painting, and you will tell me what these are. Got some paint here, acrylic paints, so let's see. Maybe this one is a bit thick. I will use some of these acrylic paints are really thick, but we will get there. Just going to make a few dots, and I'm sure you will be able to know what these are. And again, we're just going to do this right to the edge. And I will be continuing here. No, they don't have to be perfect circles. And some of it might just be covered, but I just want to do a few here and make sure that and then for these parts, we'll get back to those now. For those of you that can paint properly, please go out and do your thing. Each giraffe, each leopard, each zebra has got their own prints, much like our fingerprints. So these prints are really very unique. And we all know no two looks the same. I just want to put a bit on this side too, just so that that button is pulled in. I will not even be able to tell you what colors I've used. This is ochre, yellow ochre, obviously the black paint pen, which we will just use in a bit again. Some burnt sienna, burnt umber, and then some browns. And I just got some paint all over me and some on the table. I need to just put some at the ground. And yes, I am aware that it is quiet because I forget to actually speak as I'm going on. Right, now that that is done, So just go ahead and add some yellow. I'm just going to mix this. First, just clean this brush a little bit so that I don't have so much of that darker brown color. This yellow ochre is quite lumpy. I just want to fill in these areas. Probably should have been done the other way around. You might ask why all the hassle of doing the collage if I cover it all. Well, it was never the intention to cover it all. It just so happened now. Just fill in those edges as well. You can still see the print showing through. Just want to get this giraffe print on, then it can dry. Luckily where I am, and as I said, the AC is not working right now, so it actually dries really quickly. Maybe that is too light, and I'm making a royal mess, on my desk. Right, give that a moment or so to dry. That's too light, so I'll just get that a bit smeared in. There we go, so that one is done. Now we're going to move on to the leopard print. I just want to maybe get this background a little bit sorted. Not so completely newspaper print or book page print. So just a bit of yellow here on the edge. And there we have that. That there's newspaper print there. But there we have that. Alright, now for the next step, to complete this, I'll just give it a moment more to dry, just so that it can not smear with a paint pen. Let's see, look at that, isn't it gorgeous? I just love it. So let's finalize this. I'm going to use that black pen that I started off with, and now to make and complete the dots of the leopard, we're just going to make rough few dots, maybe a little bit less, not perfect circles, because remember, a leopard has got these rosettes. Some can be completely closed. Oh, there's a thick piece that's still not dry. I'll just close that one like that. Remember, each one looks different. It's still a bit wettier, but let's see. There's also still wet pieces or parts, and pieces with parts that are not completely dry. I know lots of people get confused with cheetahs and leopards. Obviously, a leopard has got a bigger head than a cheetah. Cheetah is more slimline. Leopard is more stocky. Of course, the head is a whole lot bigger, and the spots are different. The spots have got this rosette shape, where a cheetah's got more dots, though not perfect circles, but it's dots. And that's how you can actually identify the two of them. They are quite different, really a whole lot more different. And I think that will be it for this part. We will continue on to this part now. Still wet paint, but it should dry easily. I'm just going around in a almost curvy shape form. And yes, those that are true artists will probably frown upon my process. Each one do their own thing. I just want to put a little bit more paint there. Of course, this is shining through. Let's continue with the spots. Just want to do the ends here as well. So there's my animal prints. I'm going to let this dry, and then once we come back in the next session, we will then be looking at completing the front, and we will then be putting our signatures in and adding the little beads, which will show on this side. So this just needs some freedom to dry, preferably overnight, but I will come back in a little bit and we will continue this. Thank you for joining me. If you try this for yourself, please tag Wawa Crafting on social media. And of course, if you've got some tips for me on painting more realistic animal prints, please share those as well. If you want to see more content like this, give me a thumbs up. And as always, I'll appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel too. If you haven't done so, please hit that little notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload new content. See you back soon. Goodbye.